Good afternoon, everyone. This little blind heifer. That's a big old Butch laying over there. Looks like he might be pouting about something. Anyway, gonna top up their water dish a little bit. Haven't done that in a while. Got Opal out here messing around, causing trouble. Yeah, she's trying to look all innocent and stuff, but yeah, she's been messing with cats. It's a pretty nice day out here. That sky. So, anyway, at some point you've probably already seen the cover of the book I just finished reading. I think it's, I can't remember the title, but it's there. You've seen it already. Very, very interesting. I would recommend everyone read it. He takes a really deep look into what causes these rampage killers, and I like that term because it actually defines these people that do this. And what I've taken from the book, and I'll probably do a little more in-depth on it, give you some stats and numbers, but what I took from it, as a society, we tend to let these kids down. Put them on drugs, and that's one of the things he talks about, is all these drugs that we stick these people on. And as I'm going through myself, looking into more holistic ways of living, and I'm studying things, I'm finding that the pharmaceutical industry doesn't really care about us. It's all about money. And in trying to make more money, they will disregard safety and health. But in this case, with these rampage killers, and like I said, I like that term a lot, because, and I know that some of what I'm about to say is absolutely true, and some of it's theory on my part. But they want to call these people shooters. Well, I don't like that term for them, because while they are shooting, that lumps everyone that likes to go out and shoot a gun just for fun, out target practicing or just plinking around, you know, killing some tin cans, whatever. That casts some shade on them too, and that's where I fall in. I've hunted. I don't do so much anymore, but I did. I still like to get out, shoot my guns a little bit, because I enjoy it. I find it fun and kind of relaxing. And I've had people tell, oh, I don't know how that can be. Well, you know, I don't understand how sitting and watching a football game, or watching continuous football games on a Sunday afternoon, relaxing either. So, you know, but I'm not telling you you can't watch your football games. You do you, as they say. But he's made three, trying to think of the word here I want to use, but he's connected some dots here. And one, that most of these kids came from a broken home. No father in the home. And he makes it very clear he's not saying mothers can't do a good job, single mothers, because single mothers can and have. I mean, it's proven. The evidence is out there. But you know, it's also proven that if there's an adult male figure in the kid's life that cares for them, helps them, you know, punishes them as needed, they tend to do better. And the statistics are out there, and like I said, I'll sit down one of these days and hopefully in the not too distant future write down all these statistics that he quoted, and he's got footnotes, and he's got all of his resources listed in the back, so you know, you can go check it out. But that's one thing. And mental illness is something that, you know, is important. It's you know, and it's something I've got an interest in. I read somewhere one time that I was told by my therapist, that I saw, my counselor, that's what she was a counselor, that most people that get into counseling and the mental health care industry are trying to figure out what's wrong with them. So yeah, so you know, in my journey to figure out what's wrong with me, I've learned a lot. Now, I'm not an expert, not had any education on it. This is just my own reading of things that interest me. But mental health plays a role in these rampage shootings, rampage killings, murders. That's what they are, is murder. And then drugs. And when I say drugs, I mean legal drugs. A lot of these drugs we give people, especially the young people, really aren't good for them. And there's no, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a follow-up. But I know that it takes, with these kids that get put on these medications, that people have to be involved. And that's parents or guardians or whoever they're living with has to pay attention to them, has to spend time. You know, if you put these kids on these drugs, you got to watch them. You have to be involved with the kids' lives. But anyway, and those three things are the three most common things that they have in common. So everybody wants to talk about preventing this stuff, but you know, all they want to talk about is take the gun away. And from everyone, not just the person that's got an issue. And now I hear people, well, what about red flag laws? What about red flag laws? Those are dangerous. They're dangerous to everyone. Because usually first of all, we got to back up here a second. Politicians usually aren't experts at most things. You know, they may be a good lawyer, or they may be a good doctor, or, you know, whatever. But they don't know everything, and they cannot know everything. And that's why I when I start looking at a politician, I look at how well their moral standards line up with mine, their moral ideals. I don't care about the color of their skin. I don't care what kind of genitalia they have. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to look at the person, and I look at the person. Is he intelligent enough to do some research or have people do some research for him, or does he just jump on a bandwagon and listen to the big donor? You know, and that weeds out most of them. And some that I thought, you know, might not be too bad, but anyway, back to the Rampage thing. These kids, a lot of times, they've had contact with law enforcement. They've had trouble in school. And they've been bullied. That's another big common factor among these people. They were bullied. I believe that the school I work for does a pretty good job with this. They try. Kids are smart, though. I drive a school bus, and had a kid, and I talked about it on a video a little bit ago called "Don't Be a Bully." And this kid, charismatic kid, likable kid, but for some reason he wants to be a bully. Of course, he doesn't see it as that. He sees it as, oh, it's just teasing, it's just having fun. And then he gets other kids involved, and I'm pretty sure that he has put kids up to things, you know, but he gets started and other kids jump on it. And we all have to remember, we're still animals. We're not that far removed from animals, and you can just watch it in things. It's called the groupthink. You know, you don't all groupthink is people think alike. A certain group of people think alike, and they don't have to be told, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They just do it. And, you know, other people see it and they pile on and jump on the bandwagon, whatever you can call it. And, you know, like I said, I saw that in this instance on my school bus. There was one kid, and I don't know, by the time this happened, we were over 9 weeks into the school year. And this kid had gotten along. Okay, wait a minute. The kid that got bullied had been getting along with all of the other kids, and he hadn't done anything. His worst offense on the bus was he liked to stand up and look out the window. You know how school buses, the top of the window comes down. Well, he liked to stand up and, you know, stick his face at that window opening. And that was the worst thing this kid had done. So he wasn't a behavioral problem. And I talked to the guy that's in charge of our buses. He also works with the kids down in the elementary. I don't know exactly what his title is, but and he said, you know, he's talked to this kid a lot. He's not a behavior issue, but he does have, let's call it self-esteem issues, which is another thing these rampage killers seem to have. But, and all of a sudden, he'd got along with all these kids on the bus, and just one day, they got on him about stuff, and you know, the kid got off the bus crying, and, you know, he had told them he's going to bring a gun and shoot them all. Of course, this is a second grader, okay? So, and then I stopped him because I saw he was upset and crying. And hey, what's going on? And he, you know, one of the kids had already told me that what he'd said, and he's crying. He said, I was just joking. I don't even have a gun. I wouldn't do something like that. So, you know, second grader. Remember this, second grader. What? 7, 8, 9 years old? But anyway, and it was because these other kids had just piled on him. There was at least 4 of them involved. And they weren't hitting him. They weren't physical. It was all emotional and psychological. You know, it became psychological because it was emotional and, you know, just relentlessly, you know, saying things to him that they knew would make him mad. And this is the problem. And this kid that I believe instigated it all, he would have some of the other kids at other times. He would have other kids watching me to see if I was looking up in the mirror. And they'd let him know, and he'd stop whatever he was doing and, you know, behave. And he always kind of had this sneaky air to him. But anyway, and the thing is that really gets me with this is when the principal, because this was the 3rd incident with this kid in 4 days on the school bus. And, you know, I had tried to talk to him. The school had talked to him, the principal. And, you know, so this 3rd time, Dad was called. Well, Dad's one of them parents that if his kid's in trouble, it's because the authority figures are picking on him, which was not the case. But Dad pulled him off the bus. If you're a parent and you think your kid does no wrong, you've got a problem. You need to stop and take a serious look at your kid. I'm not the perfect parent. My kid's not perfect. When the school calls me to tell me something he's did wrong, I don't immediately argue with him. If I have to go in for a meeting, I go into the meeting and listen and say, okay, we'll work on it. We'll see what we can do about correcting it. And then I talk to him, find out his side. Fortunately for me, my kid's the one that usually tells me the same story school did. So, not always, but most of the time. But, you know, you got to teach your kids right from wrong. Your kids aren't perfect little angels. I mean, and one of the kids that was involved in teasing this kid had been teased by the ringleader. She was one of the other 2 incidences that he had been teasing her. I mean, it's crazy. And so, you know, she got a chance. She jumped on this poor kid. And all 4 of the kids involved in the bullying were like 5th graders, 4th and 5th graders, and this kid's a 2nd grader. So, you know. But anyway, we got to be, you know, you want to stop this stuff. Let's work on this bullying crap. I was bullied as a kid. We're not going to stop it all. I got it. I don't think we're ever going to have this utopia where everybody loves everybody and all that. But it can get better. At least teach your children there's consequences for this stuff when they're young. And then when they get older and understand, then they will be like, oh, well, it's just wrong to do that. So, yeah. So, yeah. I know I got off on a little rant there, but this is things we got to talk about. And I got some younger people that watch my videos. If you're younger, you know, you're still in school, think about what you do and say. I walked by the principal's office one day, and I work in the high school as a janitor also. And I walked by the principal's office, and the principal and the school counselor has 4 or 5 kids lined up, and evidently, I don't know the whole story, and you know, but it sounded like they had been bullying some kid. So, you know, and they was on them. We're not going to tolerate this. But at the same time, remember, kids are intelligent. They're not little dummies running around here waiting. They figure things out, especially things they're not supposed to do, really quick. They learn how to be sneaky young. They know that if the teacher catches them doing this, then they're going to be in trouble. So they sneak around and do it. Whoops, about dropped you. So, anyway, like I said, I'll get some statistics wrote down out of that book and do a little better dive on it. But I told y'all I would be doing a book review, and this isn't a full review. It's just partial review and a little bit of a rant. So look out for each other. Let's help each other when we can. And let's not forget to pray.